Hello, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. This is the story of Emily Carter, a gentle girl whose boyfriend was stolen by her stepmother, and forced to marry her jealous stepsister. But years later, when everyone thought Emily's life was over, the unexpected happened, a twist so shocking, so unbelievable, that it left her enemies begging for mercy at her feet. If you think you've heard every story, trust me, you've never heard this one. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more stories. God bless you. Let's dive in. The Carter mansion sat at the end of Willowridge Estate like an arrogant king, huge, proud, and shining with wealth that did not belong to everyone who lived inside it. Emily Carter had grown up within those gates, but it never felt like home. Home was something warm, something tender. This place was polished, beautiful, but cold, very cold. And that coldness had a name: Patricia Carter. Patricia became Emily's stepmother when Emily was 10 years old. A charming smile on the outside, but inside her heart, ice. And beside her came her daughter, Miranda, a girl Emily's age, but already trained in the art of manipulation. Emily's father, Mr. Gregory Carter, loved his only child deeply, but he traveled too much to notice the battles happening under his own roof. That was how Patricia won. She controlled the mansion, its workers, its rules, its atmosphere. And as Emily grew into a beautiful young woman, Patricia's jealousy grew too. Emily wasn't only beautiful, she was intelligent, kind-hearted, and loved by everyone who met her. Except the two people she lived with, Patricia and Miranda. Their hatred had a reason. And that reason had a name: Victor Hayes. Tall, brilliant, humble, and handsome in a quiet way. Victor came from a respectable middle-class home. Emily met him during a charity outreach project for underprivileged children. He had volunteered to help, and Emily had been instantly drawn to his gentle smile. Their love grew slowly, sincerely. The kind of love that felt safe. But Patricia saw something else, an opportunity. Emily didn't know it yet, but Patricia had a personal mission. She wanted her daughter Miranda to marry into wealth, and Victor was her new target. The Hayes family had recently discovered a long-lost inheritance left by Victor's grandfather, making Victor the sole heir to a chain of properties and investments. Overnight, he became one of the most eligible bachelors in the city. Patricia was greedy, Miranda was ambitious, and Emily was in love. That Monday morning, Emily came down the grand staircase, adjusting the strap of her handbag, ready to leave for work. Patricia and Miranda were having breakfast in the dining hall. Patricia's sharp, assessing eyes slid over Emily like a knife. "You're going out early," Patricia said with false sweetness. Emily smiled politely. "I have a project to supervise today." Miranda scoffed. Of course, Emily, the perfect angel, always working, always achieving, always being noticed. Emily ignored her. It was always better that way. As she moved to leave, Patricia stopped her with a question that felt innocent but carried poison underneath. "How is Victor?" she asked casually. "You haven't brought him around the mansion lately." Emily paused. A strange chill ran through her body. "He's fine," Emily answered. "We're both busy, that's all." Patricia's smile widened. Too wide. "That busy? Or hiding something, dear?" Emily blinked. Hiding what? But Patricia only chuckled softly, like she knew something Emily didn't. Miranda added with a grin, "Men get bored, you know." Emily felt her heart tighten, but she walked out quietly. She was used to their constant jabs. She had no idea her world was about to shatter. Later that afternoon, Emily was at her office desk when her phone buzzed. A message from Victor. "Can we talk? It's urgent." Emily smiled. Victor always sounded dramatic when he missed her voice. She typed back, "Of course, call me when you're free." But instead of calling, he replied, "I can't talk on the phone. I need to see you tonight." Something in the tone made her uneasy. After work, she hurried to the small rooftop garden where they often met. The place held memories: his first confession, their first kiss, their laughter under the moonlight. Victor was already there, looking pale. Emily froze at the sight of him. "Victor, what's wrong?" He couldn't meet her eyes. "Emily," he whispered, voice breaking, "I'm so sorry." Her heart thudded loudly. "Sorry for what?" He swallowed hard. "My father. He's in debt. And Patricia. She knows." Emily felt her breath stop. What does Patricia have to do with this? Victor finally looked up, and the pain in his eyes made her stomach twist. "She threatened my family." Emily grabbed his hands. "Threatened how?" "She said if I continue seeing you, she will destroy my father's business and expose him publicly. She found something. Some old financial mistake he made years ago. If it comes out, he will lose everything." "Emily, I can't let that happen." Emily's lips trembled. "Please tell me this is a joke." Victor shook his head, tears gathering in his eyes. "And that's not all." "What more?" "Patricia wants me to marry Miranda." Emily stumbled back as if struck. Her voice cracked. "That's not possible," she whispered. "That can't be happening." "It's happening," Victor said, voice shaking. "She gave me 30 days. If I refuse, she will ruin my family." Emily's chest felt like it was collapsing. Her heart screamed. This wasn't real. "You're choosing them," she whispered. "I'm choosing survival," Victor whispered painfully. "Emily, please understand." Her tears spilled. "I loved you," she said brokenly. "I still do," Victor cried. "But I can't fight Patricia. She's too powerful. Your father listens to her. She controls everything." Emily sobbed. "Victor, don't do this to me." Victor stepped closer, trying to touch her, but Emily moved back. "You should leave," she whispered. "Before I break." Victor's face crumpled. "Emily, I am sorry." He walked away slowly, each step heavier than the last. Emily stood still, numb, her heart bleeding silently into the cold night air. 2 weeks later, the news spread across town like wildfire. Victor Hayes was engaged to Miranda Carter. Patricia smiled at the cameras, Miranda posed like a queen, and Victor stood beside them like a man who had lost his soul. Emily watched from her bedroom window as the press took pictures outside the mansion gate. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply died quietly on the inside. Her stepmother had taken her happiness and handed it to her stepsister. Her boyfriend had been forced into another woman's arms. And Emily Carter became a shadow of herself. For weeks after Victor's forced engagement to Miranda, the Carter mansion felt like a battlefield. Not a loud one. No guns, no shouting, but a silent battlefield where the wounds were deeper because nobody could see them. Emily walked through the house like a ghost. She still greeted the workers softly, still smiled politely when necessary, but inside, her world had collapsed. What she didn't know was that life was about to strike her with another blow. One she was completely unprepared for. It began on a quiet Thursday evening. Emily was in her study, staring at documents she had no strength to read, when the sound of hurried footsteps echoed through the hallway. The housekeeper, Mrs. Helen, burst into the room with her hands trembling. "Miss Emily, you need to come quickly," she cried. Emily stood instantly. "What is it?" "It's your father. He's collapsed." Emily felt her heart freeze. She ran through the hallway, down the stairs, into the living room where the workers were gathered. Her father, Gregory Carter, lay unconscious on the floor, his skin pale, his pulse faint. "Daddy," Emily screamed, kneeling beside him. "Daddy, please open your eyes." But he didn't. Patricia stood a few steps away with a hand on her chest, pretending to be shocked, but her eyes held something disturbing, something cold. Miranda hovered beside her mother, not crying, not worried, just watching. "Call the ambulance," Emily shouted frantically. "It's already on the way, Mrs. Helen sobbed. Emily held her father's hand tightly, whispering desperately. "Daddy, please, don't leave me. You promised we would go on that trip together next month. Daddy, please wake up." But Gregory Carter did not wake up. The hospital air smelled like antiseptic and fear. Emily paced the hallway for what felt like hours until the doctor finally came out with a grave expression. "Miss Carter, I am deeply sorry. Emily felt her soul detach. No, no, please no, tell me he's stable. Tell me he's alive, please. The doctor swallowed. Your father had a massive cardiac arrest. We did everything we could, but everything inside her shattered. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed to the floor. My father. My only parent. Oh God, Daddy. Her cries tore through the hallway like a broken melody. Mrs. Helen rushed to her, holding her tightly as Emily screamed into her shoulder. The pain was unbearable, sharp, wild, unending. Her world had ended twice in one lifetime. First, she lost Victor. Now, she had lost her father. Life was cruel, too cruel. But while Emily wept for her father, Patricia stood silently at the corner of the hallway with Miranda beside her. Miranda whispered, "Do you think she knows something?" "Knows what?" Patricia snapped quietly. "That you played a part in this." Patricia's expression hardened. "Lower your voice. I'm just asking." Patricia squeezed Miranda's wrist so tightly the girl gasped. "Listen to me," Patricia hissed. "Gregory had a weak heart. I didn't kill him. I simply accelerated what was already going to happen. A little push in the wrong moment." Miranda shivered. "You drugged him," she whispered. Patricia's eyes flashed with irritation. "I helped fate." Emily was becoming too brave, too independent. With her father gone, she has no one to protect her. And now that Victor is yours, we must secure our future. Miranda swallowed hard. So Emily is alone now. Patricia smiled coldly, completely. But Patricia didn't know something important. A person with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous person of all. The funeral was held a week later. Emily stood like a statue beside the coffin, her black dress fluttering in the wind. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen, but she didn't shed a tear anymore. She had cried until her heart couldn't produce tears again. Victor was there. He kept his distance, but his eyes never left her. At the graveside, as the last handful of sand covered Gregory's coffin, Emily felt her heart break all over again. Her father had been her anchor, her shield, the only person who loved her unconditionally. Now she was alone, completely alone. The mansion became colder after the funeral. Patricia took over everything: finances, businesses, household management. And Emily became invisible. Patricia treated her like unwanted furniture. Miranda walked around the house proudly, flashing her engagement ring. Every evening, Victor came to visit Miranda. Emily avoided him. She couldn't look at him without feeling pain. One night, she heard Miranda giggling in the hallway. "Victor, come upstairs. Mother wants to discuss the wedding arrangements." Emily froze behind the corner. Victor looked uncomfortable, tired, drained. Miranda hooked her arm through his, pulling him along. "I can't wait to marry you," Miranda said sweetly. Victor nodded weakly. Emily closed her eyes, pressing her hand to her chest. The pain felt fresh again. After they went upstairs, she quietly slipped out of the mansion and walked into the cold night air. She sat on the garden bench, looking up at the stars her father used to show her. She whispered, "Daddy, please tell me what to do. I don't belong here anymore. They've taken everything." But the sky remained silent, and the wind carried only one truth. Emily had no home anymore. That weekend, Patricia made an announcement at breakfast. "Emily," Patricia said with a fake smile, "Miranda and Victor will be married next month." Emily's fork fell from her hand. "Already? So soon?" Patricia continued, "You will move out of the mansion after the wedding. It's time you start living on your own." Miranda smirked. "Don't worry. We'll let you visit sometimes." Emily stared at them in disbelief. "You want to throw me out of my own father's house?" Patricia placed a hand on her chest dramatically. "Emily, darling, this house is now under my control. Your father left everything in my hands. I'm simply doing what's best for the family." "You're doing what's best for you," Emily said in a shaky voice. Patricia leaned forward with a dark smile. "Exactly." Emily felt her pulse race, but she didn't cry. She didn't shout. Her father had always taught her one thing. When a snake shows its fangs, don't run. Stand still and watch, because the moment will come when the snake turns its back. Emily looked at Patricia, really looked at her. For the first time, she wasn't scared. She whispered, "Enjoy your victory while it lasts." Patricia's smile faltered. Emily rose from her seat, walked upstairs, closed her bedroom door, and finally allowed herself to breathe. Her father was gone. Her boyfriend was lost. Her home was stolen. But deep inside her chest, where the pain lived, something new was growing. A strength that Patricia did not expect. The night Patricia announced that Emily would be thrown out after the wedding, something inside Emily snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. If this house didn't want her, she would leave it behind. If this family didn't love her, she would stop trying. If life had pushed her to the edge, she would learn to fly. 3 days later, at dawn, while the mansion slept, Emily quietly packed a suitcase. Only a few dresses, her laptop, her father's old wristwatch, and the silver necklace he gifted her on her 19th birthday. That necklace was her only anchor to love. Before she stepped out, she looked around her childhood bedroom for the last time. Every corner held a memory, some sweet, most painful. But she felt no tears now. She was empty, but strangely strong. She whispered to the silent room, "Goodbye." And then she walked out of the Carter mansion forever. Emily didn't tell Patricia or Miranda she was leaving. She didn't owe them anything. She only sent a short message to the housekeeper, Mrs. Helen, who loved her like a daughter. "I'm leaving for a while. Please don't worry about me. Thank you for loving me when no one else did." By sunrise, Emily was on a bus heading to Stonebridge City, a busy, noisy place 3 hours away. She chose it because nobody knew her there. She wanted to disappear and rebuild herself from the ashes. When she arrived, the first thing she noticed was the chaos. Street vendors calling customers, buses honking, buildings standing so tall they hid the sun. This city was alive. It didn't care about her pain, but maybe that was good. Emily rented a small studio apartment on the 3rd floor of an old building. The apartment was nothing like the mansion. No chandeliers, no shiny floors, no expensive decor. Just a bed, a small kitchen, a bathroom, and a desk. But to Emily, it felt like freedom. For the first time in years, she breathed without fear. Days passed, and Emily found a job at a small cafe to survive. She made coffee, washed cups, cleaned tables, and served customers who didn't know her name or her history. She loved it. No Patricia, no Miranda, no Victor, just herself. But Emily knew she needed more. She needed a future. Her father used to tell her, "Knowledge is a shield. They can take your home, but they can't take your mind." One evening, while scrolling on her phone, she saw an online advertisement. Learn cybersecurity, ethical hacking and digital forensics. Become a certified cybersecurity analyst in 18 months. Start now. A strange spark lit inside her. Cybersecurity. A field full of secrets, codes, hidden truths, and power. She whispered, "Maybe this is what I need." The next morning, she registered for the course. That decision would change her destiny in ways she could not yet imagine. Because knowledge was about to become Emily's weapon. Cybersecurity was hard. The first month, she often cried at night, overwhelmed by strange codes and technical terms. But she refused to quit. Every day after work, she attended online classes, practiced hacking simulations, learned about digital footprints, data breaches, encrypted files, and hidden databases. Her mind grew sharper. Her confidence returned slowly, quietly, steadily. Her instructors noticed her talent. By the 4th month, Emily was one of the best in the program. But while Emily built a new life, something dark was happening back in the Carter mansion. Patricia didn't know Emily was gone. Miranda didn't know Emily was thriving. But Victor knew. He had returned to the mansion for dinner one evening when Mrs. Helen quietly told him, "Miss Emily left. She moved away." Victor froze. What do you mean she left?" "She packed her things and disappeared," Mrs. Helen whispered. "She said she needed to breathe." Victor's chest tightened painfully. He knew he had broken her heart. He knew he had abandoned her. He knew he had betrayed her. But he didn't know she would leave the city. That night, while Miranda slept comfortably in her room, excited about her upcoming wedding, Victor sat in his car outside the mansion, staring at his hands, shaking. He whispered, "Emily, where did you go?" He didn't know why he felt afraid, but something inside him told him he had pushed the only woman he ever truly loved too far away. Meanwhile, Emily was growing stronger. Her instructors soon offered her practical projects, investigating fake online transactions, tracing stolen accounts, uncovering suspicious digital trails. Emily became good at finding the truth hidden beneath lies. Every time she solved a case, it felt like she was solving a piece of her own life. Stonebridge City had a strange way of reshaping people. It was loud, fast, unforgiving, yet full of opportunities for those brave enough to chase them. Emily Carter had become one of those people. In a city where nobody cared about her past or her pain, Emily built a new version of herself, stronger, sharper, wiser. The cyber course that once seemed impossible became her ladder out of darkness. And she climbed it, every step, every night, every tear, until the day she graduated. It was a bright morning when Emily logged into the virtual graduation ceremony. Her instructors praised her in front of the entire cohort. Emily Carter, the head instructor, announced, one of the top cybersecurity analysts in this year's program. Consistent, brilliant, dedicated. A rare talent. Emily sat in her apartment, smiling softly, a real smile, not the polite one she wore in the mansion. For the first time in a long time, she felt proud of herself. After the ceremony, the Academy emailed her something that made her heart race. Dear Emily Carter, you have been shortlisted for an interview at Sentinel Tech Global. Sentinel Tech, one of the biggest cybersecurity companies in the country. A place where only the smartest got hired. Emily stared at the screen, trembling. Me, really? It felt unreal, but it was real. The interview was scheduled for the following week. On the morning of the interview, Emily dressed carefully. Not extravagantly, just a simple white shirt, black trousers, and the silver necklace her father gave her. She whispered, "Daddy, please be with me." When she stepped into Sentinel Tech's headquarters, she was overwhelmed. Tall glass walls, employees in sharp suits, security scanners everywhere, digital screens glowing with moving data. This was a world far bigger than the mansion she left behind. And Emily belonged here. The interview panel was tough, but Emily was tougher. She answered their technical questions with clarity. She solved the cybersecurity puzzle in record time. She explained network vulnerabilities like she had been doing it for years. When she finished, one of the directors leaned forward. "Emily Carter," he said, "where have you been hiding?" Emily laughed lightly. "Trying to find myself, sir." The director smiled. "Congratulations. You're hired." Emily felt her breath leave her body in one rush. She had made it. She had truly, finally made it. While Emily's life rose like the sun, Victor and Miranda's marriage was already sinking like a stone. Meanwhile, at the wedding between Victor Hayes and Miranda Carter was lavish. Golden chandeliers, diamond jewelry, luxury cars. Patricia spared no expense. Photographers flooded the venue, influencers posted them online, and society's elite came to witness the perfect marriage. But behind every perfect picture, there was a secret. Victor's smile never reached his eyes. Miranda noticed it every day. She had Victor's body. She had his ring. She had his name. But she didn't have his heart. And it made her boil inside. 3 months into the marriage, things began to crack. Miranda sat in their luxury bedroom brushing her hair when Victor walked in, loosening his tie. "You're late again," she snapped. "There was traffic," he replied quietly. "You didn't pick my call." "I was in a meeting." "You're lying." Victor sighed heavily. "Miranda, I'm tired." Miranda tossed her brush on the vanity table. "Tired? Of what?" "Being married. Having responsibilities. Tired of being controlled," Victor muttered. Miranda froze. "Excuse me." Victor finally looked at her, really looked. "I can't live like this," he said. "Every day feels like I'm drowning." Miranda's voice hardened. "You better adjust. You married into the Carter family now." Victor's jaw clenched. "Yes, and that was the biggest mistake of my life." Miranda's face burned with rage. If Victor had stabbed her, it would have hurt less. The next weeks were filled with tension. Victor became withdrawn. Miranda became more demanding. Patricia became suspicious. One evening at dinner, Patricia observed the couple closely. "Miranda, dear," Patricia said, "why do you look upset?" Miranda forced a smile. "I'm fine, Mother." But Patricia wasn't fooled. She turned to Victor. "Is everything all right in the marriage?" Victor looked at Patricia, and for a moment, resentment flashed in his eyes. "I'm doing my best," he answered coldly. Patricia's smile faded just a little. Only Miranda noticed it. Meanwhile, Emily settled beautifully into her new job. Sentinel Tech became her second home. Her colleagues admired her intelligence. Her supervisors trusted her with major assignments. She was no longer the girl hiding behind sadness. She was a woman becoming unstoppable. Months passed, and Emily received her first promotion. Her salary increased. Her confidence soared. Her life blossomed. But she never boasted, never looked back with hatred, never sent a message to anyone from her past. She was building quietly, preparing silently. Her father used to say, "A river doesn't make noise until it grows strong enough to create a waterfall." Back in the Carter mansion, Miranda's obsession grew daily. She watched Victor constantly, checked his phone when he showered, interrogated him when he returned from work, tracked his movements. Yet Victor remained distant, emotionally gone. One afternoon, Miranda confronted him again. "Why don't you love me?" she cried. Victor looked at her, with tired eyes. "It's not about love, it's about choice. And my choice was stolen." Miranda's face twisted. "You mean Emily, don't you?" Victor didn't answer. That silence was louder than any confession. Miranda screamed. She threw a vase at the wall. She pushed furniture. She sobbed uncontrollably. Victor just stood there, exhausted. When Patricia heard the noise, she rushed upstairs. "What is going on?" Miranda pointed at Victor. "He loves Emily. He never loved me." Patricia turned to Victor sharply. "Is this true?" Victor didn't lie. "She was the woman I wanted. Not your daughter. Not this marriage." Patricia's eye twitched. She walked up to Victor slowly, dangerously. "Listen carefully," Patricia whispered. "You will stay in this marriage. You will smile. You will obey. Because your family still owes me." Victor stared at her. "You own my body, but not my soul." And he walked out. Patricia's chest tightened with fury. This was not the outcome she planned. Miranda sank to the floor, wailing, "Mother, he hates me." Patricia held her daughter tightly, but her mind was already calculating. Something had to be done. Victor Hayes was becoming a threat. A dangerous threat, and Patricia never tolerated threats. Sentinel Tech had become Emily Carter's second home. A place where her mind was valued, her ideas respected, and her presence quietly admired. Though she worked with unwavering dedication, Emily never imagined how deeply her excellence had impressed the company's leadership, especially Mr. Jonathan Miles, the executive director. Jonathan was a man known for his precision and intuition. He recognized talent instantly, but what he saw in Emily went far beyond skill. It was her calmness under pressure, her elegant articulation, and the unique brilliance she brought into every task. To him, she was not just an employee, she was an asset, a rising star, and a young woman destined for greatness. In a short time, Emily became Jonathan's most trusted staff member. He invited her to strategy sessions once reserved only for senior managers. He carried her along to board presentations, international collaborations, and confidential cybersecurity briefings. Whenever dignitaries or high-profile partners visited, Emily was always at his side, polished, poised, and perceptive. Colleagues whispered often, "Mr. Miles really values Emily. She's going places." Emily, humble as always, simply focused on doing her work with excellence. On a warm Thursday afternoon, Sentinel Tech hosted a high-level partnership meeting with Lawson Innovations, a multinational firm known for its groundbreaking tech expansions. Jonathan requested Emily join him. She walked into the gleaming boardroom with her tablet pressed gently to her chest. The room was filled with executives, but her attention was drawn to one person, a young man standing beside the panoramic glass wall. He turned as they approached. Tall, sharp-suited, with refined features. And the kind of calm confidence that made the atmosphere shift in his presence. Jonathan smiled warmly. "Emily, meet Stephen Lawson," he said. "He's part of the Global Cyber Infrastructure Board. One of the youngest ever appointed." Stephen extended his hand. His voice was deep and smooth. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Miss Carter. I've read your reports. Very impressive." Emily felt a soft warmth rise to her cheeks. "Thank you, Mr. Lawson," she replied with a gentle smile. "I've heard about your accomplishments too." Their eyes held for a brief moment, just long enough for an unspoken connection to spark. Jonathan, observant as always, simply smiled. The meeting proceeded, but every now and then, Emily caught Stephen's gaze drifting toward her. Not boldly, not intrusively, just curiously, as if he wanted to understand her beyond the walls of corporate professionalism. And she found herself glancing at him too. After that day, everything began to shift gently, almost naturally. Stephen visited Sentinel Tech more often, sometimes for meetings, other times under the convenient excuse of discussing collaborative potential. Jonathan noticed the frequency but said nothing. He trusted Emily, and he respected Stephen. Soon, the professional conversations between Emily and Stephen slowly transformed into something softer. A shared lunch here, a late evening call there, a message that turned into a long conversation. A simple, "How was your day?" that stretched into midnight discussions about life, dreams, fears, and hopes. Emily found in Stephen a calm she didn't know she needed. He listened, truly listened. He encouraged her growth. He admired her strength without trying to overpower it. And for the first time in years, Emily felt seen for who she was, not what she had survived. Stephen, on the other hand, became captivated by her gentleness and intelligence. He often told her, "You're the kind of woman this world doesn't produce twice." Their bond deepened quietly, beautifully, in the spaces between work and life. Jonathan, who had become something like a mentor-father figure to Emily, said to her one day after a successful presentation, "You have a rare light, Emily." People like Stephen recognized that too. Emily blushed, but she understood what Jonathan meant. Something meaningful was happening. 3 months later, Stephen invited Emily to a private rooftop overlooking the city skyline. The evening breeze carried the scent of jasmine plants placed around soft glowing lanterns. Gentle violin notes drifted through the air from a live quartet. Emily felt her heart warm as she looked around. "This is beautiful," she whispered. Stephen stepped closer, taking both her hands. "Not as beautiful as you." Her breath caught. He continued, his voice steady but emotional. "Emily Carter, from the first day I met you, I knew you were different. I knew you had endured things that would have broken others, yet you stand with grace, intelligence, and kindness. You helped me see life differently." He slowly knelt. Emily gasped softly. A small velvet box appeared in his hand, catching the soft light of the lanterns. "I want a future where we build dreams together. A life where you never walk alone again. Emily, will you marry me?" Tears pooled in her eyes. She had walked through storms, rebuilt her life from quiet ashes, and now, here was a man offering her a love that felt safe, honest, and whole. Her voice trembled. "Yes, Stephen, yes, I will marry you." He slipped the ring onto her finger, rose to his feet, and pulled her into a warm embrace that felt like the beginning of forever. The wedding took place 2 months later. A garden estate decorated with ivory roses, soft white drapery, and gentle candlelit walkways set the perfect scene. The ceremony wasn't extravagant for show, it was elegantly refined, sophisticated, and intimate. Jonathan stood proudly among the guests, deeply moved by how far Emily had come. He gave a warm speech, saying, Emily embodies resilience, brilliance, and grace. Today, she steps into a future worthy of her. Emily wore a flowing ivory gown, simple but breathtaking. Stephen couldn't take his eyes off her as she walked down the aisle. When they exchanged vows, their voices trembled with emotion. "You are my peace," Stephen said. "You are my safe place," Emily replied. And when they sealed their vows with a kiss, the entire garden erupted in soft applause. It was the perfect blend of elegance and simplicity. A celebration not of wealth, but of destiny, healing, and love. Emily Carter had found her place. Her peace, her partner, her future. However, Patricia, who had always believed life would bend to her desires, learnt a big lesson of her life. For years, she fed off her late husband's wealth, manipulated Miranda's marriage, and drove Emily away. But life has a strange way of balancing the scales. It began with a government investigation into a fraudulent land deal Patricia had secretly been involved in. For years she forged Emily's late father's signatures to claim properties that never belonged to her. When the truth was uncovered, it spread like wildfire. News stations, blogs, and social platforms carried the same headline. Businesswoman Patricia Reed in multi-million-dollar fraud scandal. Miranda and Victor were dragged into the mess, their names trending for all the wrong reasons. Within weeks, Patricia lost her mansion, her lands, her companies, her public image, her social connections. Everything she used to use against Emily vanished. And then came the moment none of them expected. Emily's husband, Stephen, was hosting an annual corporate gala, a high-level diplomatic dinner attended by CEOs, government officials, foreign investors, and ambassadors. Emily arrived beside him, elegant, calm, respected. The hall stood still the moment she walked in. Unknown to her, Patricia, Miranda, and Victor were in the same building. They had been hired, not as guests, but as event service workers for a small catering firm. Life had reduced them to that point. Patricia carried a tray with trembling hands. Miranda wore a simple black server's uniform. Victor stood behind the drink counter, avoiding eye contact with the world. And then, Emily turned. Their eyes met. The room froze. Emily, once the girl they mocked, now stood surrounded by dignitaries who greeted her with warm smiles. "Mrs. Stephen, your presence graces the evening. Emily, the ambassador wishes to speak with you. She's the director's wife. Escort her to the VIP table." Patricia almost dropped her tray. Miranda's breath caught in her throat. Victor's chest tightened with humiliation. Never in their wildest dreams did they imagine Emily would rise higher than them, so high that even approaching her felt impossible. Patricia swallowed her pride and approached with shaky legs. Emily," she whispered. "Please, forgive us." Miranda followed, tears streaming. Victor couldn't even lift his eyes. Guests watched curiously. Some recorded, sensing drama. Emily did not shout. She did not boast. She simply said, in a calm, powerful voice, "I forgave you a long time ago. But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Life did what it needed to do." Stephen gently placed his hand on her back, supportive, proud. A high-ranking diplomat leaned in and whispered, "Are these the people who wronged you?" Emily simply nodded. The diplomat turned coldly toward Patricia. "I suggest you leave the VIP area immediately. You are disturbing our special guest." The humiliation was complete. Patricia bowed her head. Miranda sobbed silently. Victor walked away in shame. They disappeared into the crowd. Broken, defeated, forgotten. What's the lesson here? The people who pushed Emily down ended up bowing before her. Not because she fought them, but because success did the fighting for her. Do good. Stay focused. Life always pays everyone back exactly what they deserve. If you loved this story, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more jaw-dropping stories. See you in the next one. Bye.